Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Asian report, but I'm going to start with iron ore today because we were down about 9.5% here for iron ore, and copper's down just over 2% and spot gold down just under 2% as well. So the metals will weigh heavy on the ASX today, so be mindful of that. But I just wanted to point out the count for here. I mean, we know that gold is in a bullish pattern to the upside. It's in a wave 4 correction at the moment. The iron ore here is in a sharp wave 2, and we're looking for a move down into the 61.8% mark, sort of down around here somewhere. So this leg here needs to finish off, but it's doing all the right thing through a wave 2. That is an A and a B and a C wave. That would be swift and sharp, and that's what it is. So that needs to land, and I've been aware of this too. So, you know, we won't look at Rio and the others until this is actually in place. Yeah, just thought I'd share that. And now, as you know, it's normally it's nice to have the metals and the finance, or resources rather, and the finance working together. It makes trading the ASX much easier, but when you've got them resources going one way and finance going the other way, it can make it a little bit difficult for the ASX200. So I want to move over to the banks now, because we've been sort of looking at the banks a little bit, as you know. Just find them in my list here. We're looking at CBA and WBC now. We're working off a current low here, and they can be a little bit tricky, and they can turn bearish pretty quickly as well. But as it stands so far, we're looking at this as wave 1 here and wave 2 here. Now, it would be nice if we could line the ASX up on this count as well, but we can't. The low on the ASX was over here on this low, so it makes it a little bit sort of difficult there on that basis. But, you know, we pin this down as a low here, and the 61.8% retracement level was around the 75 here. We're looking for the 5 waves up. We got the 5 waves. We're looking for a 3-wave counter trend, swift and sharp for wave 2, which we've got. And now we're looking for this to push higher through here. And CBA is the same. ANZ's in its own world, different markets and so on now. But moving into the 2-hour chart here. So we're staying bullish with this until proven otherwise here. So we're looking from wave 4 here, 5 waves up for wave 1, ABC for 2, up for 1 here, back for 2 here. So we want to see this sort of scoot along now, because it'll be in the third of the third here. And we were considering this, and in this video here at least, we were looking at being long in these markets, and if you're long, then that's great. So as it stands at the moment, just got to clean all this up here. I haven't done that, but yeah, so we could probably, I'll leave all of this. I'll need to sort of figure this out a little bit. Now that needs doesn't need figuring out. That just needs moving from there to there. We don't need this anymore. So yeah, look, everything's looking quite positive here for this market. There's a particular point here that that needs to be noted. Obviously, this market's been working across the midpoint here, the 75 here. It's an important level, obviously. Now, you know, in very simple terms, you don't need to be a technical analyst as such, but what you do need to recognize, well, from my point of view anyway, is basically support and how a market moves from one side to the other. So we've got 75 across here. We've got the market coming up, banging its head on it. It reacts from here. And now we're looking for the first high above the level here. Well, essentially, we're looking for support on 75. Now, it has popped up here and come back and tested. Now it's back up here again, and it could just drift higher from here. But, you know, it's always nice for it to, you know, come back and sit on such, you know, a large number here as support. So transferring from resistance to support is what you need to be looking at here. And this is the same for WBC. I'm going to run with these two here because we've been looking at them in terms of of putting long trades on these, not in our daily equity trades, but it was just something that we could do in this video here because it lined up with the ASX here. So once again, up for one here and back for two here, and now we're looking for wave 3 to move up. Now, I'm not 100% confident of this low being in place here either. All I'm doing is I'm just staying with the internal counts and working through them, and that's what we've been doing. I think I'll just go to the 15-minute chart here because that's where we were working. And in that internal structure there, we were obviously looking for 5 waves up, which we've got, and then we were looking for a 3-wave counter trend back into 30. It dropped a little bit lower here, but that's okay. And then working up from this point here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1, an A and a B and a C for 2 here, and then we're moving up into the 3rd wave up through to here. Yeah, so it's all going pretty much according to plan. So I'm thinking, the more that you can see that if you're trading the ASX200, it will be the banks that, if the ASX200 is going to move high, it's going to be off the banks here. So looking at that 75 level for CBA and this particular 131 here for this market here as well. So coming over to the ASX200 here, I really wanted to keep it simple here because the wave structures are not just in this little section here, but previous as well. It's not very clear, so I think it's always good. Well, what I do is come back to the levels all the time. So I know that 5,300 is so important because getting support on this level, not just popping its head up here and fading here. Like the breakout's important, but the retest to me excuse me, is more important. The testing and testing and testing, because this testing here all the time, it's obviously where you'd lift your stops up to within reason. So yeah, it's just more important overall. So look, it does appear that things are moving nicely here. It's testing support on this particular level here, but in terms of trading, the sort of subtle, more important level here is at this stage is this number here, this 5330. If you wanted to split hairs on that, where it's got the 330 there, you'd put another 3, so 3, 3, and 3, because you're getting into micro group then. This is subgroup level 1 here, and if you can get support on this 5330 here, then it's going to separate the market from this number here. So getting a nice tested support on top of this level will separate the order flow from pulling from the 5.3 here, and the market will move up. So if you're going to go long, it's on this level here that you'd need to do it, but you would only put in a small amount here because you would want to add on the 50 here, and then obviously there's going to be trouble at the old high here if this market is going to move up through that area there. We are expecting the S&P 500 to move up through this as well. So if I can just quickly have a look at that. Just got to find it in my list here. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the 15-minute chart on the S&P 500 here, and what we're looking for here, just off the low here, we were looking at 5 waves up here, and this is actually a 5 waves with a little bit of confidence actually, because it's quite a nice looking 5 waves on the cash market. So we're looking for wave 5 and wave 1 here, and A, and I'm thinking that the B could be over here and the C here, because this is the 50-60% retracement level. It can move down here. If 265 became a support, then it's going to go up into group 2 there. That's the lower end of group 2, so that's what you'd look for there. But the point being, because we've got 5 waves here, after a correction we'll get another 5 waves here. So in the next session for the S&P 500, we could see this and then this move up through to here, which in turn would help the ASX 200 move higher into this space here, wouldn't it? So at the same time, it's Tuesday, so Tuesday morning would see profit taking and then trend resuming in the afternoon or certainly the afternoon to me really with the ASX200, all the volume comes in by 11:15 in the morning, and then it's pretty low volume, pretty flat all the way through till 2:30 to 10 to 3 of that sort of nature, and then it really the rest of the volume comes out from in or out from the from basically 10 to 3 till 4 o'clock until the cash market closes, and then you'll see people like Macquarie's and that lifting all their hedges off for the day, coming in on that close, and that's all sort of done by sort of 4 or 8 minutes past 4 or something like that. So but anyway, here, if this is to be counted as 5 waves up here, which is a bit dodgy because it's overlapping wave structures with top of wave 1 and wave 4 here, then this is the box here that we're looking at here. There's also a bearish picture in the market too, with the Asian markets too, and we know that that this particular market here too, if we come back to the daily chart, we do need to be careful. Well, first of all, while we're here, we might as well just go to the weekly chart, because I wanted to show this on the Chinese market, which is the same as this as well. Hong Kong's the same. This is China's same but different. American banks are like this. European banks are even more like this as well. So when we have a look at Deutsche Bank or Commerzbank in Europe, this is what they're looking like here. So they're quite bearish as well. So this is not an isolated thing here that we're looking at, but coming back to Australia here, this weekly chart here, this is the best fit for this. So we've always been looking at wave 1 here, and then basically an A and a B and a C for wave 2, expecting wave 2 to come higher here. But I know that in many cases with wave 2, it can just come back to the wave 4s of one lesser degree here. And we also have this as an A and a B and a C up here as well. So on the daily chart here, just moving in here a little bit, what we were looking for here is we've got the A, the B and the C here for the A wave, a B wave here and a C wave up here. So really this top that we're talking about here, that could be in place here, do you know? So this is why this becomes really valuable here, this 5,300 here. If that can become support, then I know that we'll be going higher into the 61.8%, which is the 5.5 area here. But as it stands at the moment, it's quite viable for this to be an A and a B and a C and finished at this point, and we're working down from here. Okay, so that's on my mind as well. And this, like I said, it's not an isolated case. So when we look at if we look at China 300, which is basically based on the Shanghai comp market here, this is quite this is a daily chart here, but this is, don't worry about the labeling here, but I have labeled it as a bearish move here, and it will come bearish if I go into a 4-hour chart here. See, once this little box here, the 61.8%, this little one here, once that's breached, then it opens up this wave 3 down here. So I'll just go to the 4-hour chart to focus in on this little area here. So I'm fully aware that the market could just come down to the 2.8 here, the 61.8%, and move up from there. I'm kind of hoping that, in a way, but like hope is, like sort of buying stuff, but look, if the 2.8 becomes the retested resistance here, then we'll put China in bearish mode. This is just a bearish chart, but at this stage it's not like that, but this can certainly be counted as an A and a B and 1 and 2 and 3 and A and B and C for the 4th here, and up for the 5th here for wave 2. So being below this 2.8 here puts it in bearish mode here, and we'll see. The Hong Kong market, of course, is the same as well. So this is a weekly chart here. This is the same as the Australian market, isn't it? So what can you say about it, really? Because Hong Kong doesn't have the mining that we have, but yet we're still looking like this here. So it's still really based off that banking sector, I reckon, and because the US banks are like this as well here, same sort of pattern. So In this case here, we're looking at wave 1 coming down as well. It does appear that this little move up here can be an A wave here. So on the daily chart here, I've got it, the whole move down here, but coming up here, I've got this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. And I'm quite happy with that. That's very much like the European count, different from Australia. But yeah, so this can be wave B here. But same thing here again. If this wave B gets taken out here, then it opens up more of a bearish picture, and we would have to bring this wave 2 in over here and looking for a much bearish picture through here. So we won't miss any of this. It's just that we need, even to short it, we need it to play out. So we would need to see 5 waves down to this point. We would need to see a counter trend of 3 waves up, and then we would short that coming through here. This is an example of other markets. So there is this bearish picture that we're working with, and there is a bullish picture that we're working with. And quite frankly, I don't really mind which one, but whichever one we take, we need setups. And currently, what we've been working with now on sort of detailed sort of levels is pretty much setups. So we're trading setups and signals, and that's what we're doing, and that's why we're long in WBC and CBA. How far they will go, who knows? But we had 5 waves up here, we had 3 waves here, we've got some tested support on here, so we can go long here. And I wouldn't worry about this. Was just covering this gap here. That's what ANZ did as well, and fell out of bed, so to speak. That always occurs. But once it finds its feet, then we can move up again. So anyway, let's see how we go with all of this. Alrighty, cheers.